What's going on, guys? Krusty K's here from the Go Boys Network, breaking down this Sunday slate for you guys. Looking at FanDuel Sportsbook for all these, so not waste any more time. Let's jump right into it. So first one we got here, the Houston Astros take on the Boston Red Sox. Hunter Brown versus James Paxton. I'm going to be on the over here. I see a lot of money coming on the under, and I'm not buying it. Hunter Brown's been really good, but this total sitting at 10.5. It's not just because James Paxton's going to get split up. I think Hunter Brown gets touched up here too. So you got a Red Sox team who, swinging the bats really well against righties as of late. And for me, this just screams over. Paxton, we all know he's a turkey tosser. Houston has the bats to get it done. And like I said, Boston just red hot at the plate right now. So give me the over. I think this thing soars over. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this thing upwards of 12 runs here. Krusty is late. I was here on time. We're having some technical difficulties. Our next one, the Texas Rangers take on the New York Yankees. Andrew Heaney versus Marcus Stroman. I like the Yankees. I think they get to Heaney. My hang-up with this game is trusting Stroman. This is a guy who, for a majority of the season, just hasn't been consistent. And, it's a Texas team who, honestly, on that same note, hasn't been consistent. But I have this odd feeling that Texas gets to him a bit. So I didn't want to just run to the over. I do think the Yankees do score, though, so I like the Yankees team total. I'm just going to isolate it to that. I like them to touch up Heaney. I do think they win the game if you want to go that route, but like I said, I'm having a hard time getting there with Stroman on the bump. In terms of pitcher props here, I was looking at a couple. I was really, really close to just fading Stroman's Ks, but the 3.5 for me just kind of felt like a coin flip, and I couldn't get there personally. Our next one, the Oakland Athletics taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. This is J.P. Sears versus Chris Bassett. It's going to be the Blue Jays here for me, and it's reluctantly, truthfully. I just think J.P. Sears on the road is a guy who he just can't seem to figure it out. Getting a Toronto team who I personally hate backing. Every time I back them, I feel like their bats just go away. But this is a good spot for their offense. I think they can get the bats going here. They should get the bats going here. But like I said, if I'm backing them, there's a good chance they don't show up. So wouldn't be surprised if Sears throws a masterclass at that point. But do like the Blue Jays. Do think Bassett in his 15-pitch mix plays really well against this Oakland team. Their bat's just a little more inconsistent on the road. Definitely a spot where I think he could take advantage. Any Nerfy. The first 3 games I went through, no Nerfy. There was a couple later in it that I kind of liked that I can talk about when I get there. Our next one, the San Diego Padres taking on the Miami Marlins. This is Dylan Cease versus Max Meyer. I'm a big Max Meyer guy, as a lot of people know. This is just a brutal spot, though. You get a Padres team who the bats are really starting to wake up. We saw it yesterday in a game. They got down big early. They came back, ended up winning the game. In my opinion, you just can't fade them right now. Obviously, it's tough to get there at a minus 205 on the money line. But I think a player performance level with Cease Ks of some sort. I believe it has to be 7 Ks to get close to even money. But I don't see how that doesn't come in. It's super chalky, probably super popular. But, Cease is just on another planet right now if you've been watching. Everybody wanted to fade him after the no-hitter, and he just continues to impress. So for me here, I think Cease mows through this lineup, this Marlins lineup at this point in the season, really like a AAA team. And I don't see Cease having a lot of issues here. I like his pitching outs, too, and it was at 17.5. I believe it's since moved to 18.5 everywhere, which for me, 18.5, it's a coin flip because, he's a guy going up against a team who doesn't see a lot of pitches, so he definitely could pitch into the 7th, but I'd probably stay off of it at that point. The total is 7.5 for that game, and it's low. I guess my concern would be that the Padres, can get there themselves. I don't see Miami scoring, so I do think the under could definitely be in play, like a 5-0 type win. But I'd just be concerned because, Mayer, while he has good stuff, he has struggled at times where he catches a little bit too much of the plate and teams have been teeing off on him when he does. And then even once he comes out of the game, the Marlins bullpen is not good. So do I think the Padres score 8? Probably not, but that'd be my only hang up on the under is worrying that the Padres cover it by themselves. Our next one here, the Baltimore Orioles taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Albert Suarez versus Jeffrey Springs. So this is a tricky game. it's a pick 'em for a reason, in my opinion. But I don't think Jeffrey Springs is in the form that you would want to back him at this point. So I do like the Orioles here at -104. Suarez has just been really good for this team. This is a spot where I think he could take advantage of a Tampa Bay team that's similar to the Marlins after the trade deadline. Lineup's just kind of watered down. Lost a lot of pieces, and I don't know. This lineup just doesn't scare. I don't think it scares anybody like it did, previously. So Suarez, I expect him to pitch pretty well. Jeffrey Springs, I do like his strikeouts in this spot just because the Orioles do strike out a lot against lefties. He hasn't had the Ks through his first 2 starts, but if you look at the underlying metrics, the chase and whiff are there. He's just not generating the actual punch outs. But a lot of that could be just the teams he's faced so far. So not going to put too much stock into that. My biggest concern, though, like I said, they strike out a lot against lefties, but they also crush lefties. So I think the Orioles win. I hope Jeffrey Springs stays in the game long enough to get me 5 Ks, but obviously it's a bit of a concern there too. I think Hunter Brown does today. I think Hunter Brown gets touched up. That's what I was talking about earlier. I like the over in that game. It's a high total, and we all know Paxton's going to give some runs. But this Boston team against righties, they are striking out quite a bit, so I do think maybe the Ks could potentially be in play. But they're crushing righties. This is a tough spot for him. He's been really good. But I just think this is a spot where he can definitely struggle. Yeah, Tampa Bay under team total, I wouldn't be against it. Like I said, I like this Baltimore pitching staff a lot. I like them. I think the money line, though, -104. To me, I think they're overvaluing Springs here a bit. They're valuing him as if he's the guy from 2022, because obviously he was out for basically a full season, and that's not the case yet. He isn't there yet. He's not back to that point. Our next one, the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. This is Nick Lodolo versus DL Hall. The money line price in this game was a little confusing to me because, I know the Brewers are really good, but Nick Lodolo typically gets a bit of line respect here because he is like the staff ace. So seeing them as a dog, I was a little bit surprised, not totally surprised. Price did feel a little short, but I ultimately settled on the Reds team total. So DL Hall's a guy who's been kind of hurt up and down. He's not good, to put it lightly. So I like their team total here. This Reds team has been pretty consistent at the plate. Bats have woken up quite a bit. And I wanted to back the Reds in some fashion. I just couldn't quite get to the money line because Lodolo, man, that guy, he's either going to go out and shut everybody down for 7 innings or he's getting absolutely shelled. And I really don't know which one's going to be against this Milwaukee team. So I like the Reds team total. It's at 3.5. I think that's a great line. It was a little bit juiced, but not terrible. I could pull it. I think it was like -125 when I saw it. Great price. And like I said, I think they easily get 4 runs here, probably off of DL Hall before they even get to the bullpen. So I like that a lot. And now a quick word from my guy, Brad. We'll be right back.
Wait, before we get back to the picks, I wanted to thank you all for watching. Friends don't let friends watch videos without hitting the like button. So go ahead and press the thumbs up button and like the video. If you're new here and not subscribed, you should go ahead and do so because we're dropping new content each and every day on the Gold Boys Network. We strive to cover every sport and give out picks and analysis and valuable information for free on the Gold Boys Network. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you can get notified when we drop something new. I'm Brad Thomas. Let's get back to the picks.
All right, we're back. Milwaukee bullpen is ass. Their late inning guys are good, but yeah, like the middle relief guys like throughout are pretty bad. So that's what if the Reds are leading or if they have a couple runs, I don't expect to see those late inning guys. So yeah, if they don't get the 4 runs off of DL Hall, I think they can get it off of those middle of the road type guys that the Brewers will put out there. Our next one, Cleveland Guardians taking on the Minnesota Twins. Tanner Bond. All right, so before I jump into this next one, I'm going to give a quick recap. So first one is the over in the Astros-Red Sox game. Second one is the Yankees team total over. Third one, the Blue Jays on the money line. Fourth one, the Dylan Cease PPD, and then the Orioles money line and Reds team total. That's what I've got on so far. It's right there next to my head. Thank you, James. Let's keep going. So the next one, the Cleveland Guardians taking on the Minnesota Twins. Tanner Bybee versus David Festa. If you've been watching this series, this thing is being played like a playoff series. It's been a really good one to watch. These teams basically fighting for the lead in the AL Central. Cleveland picked up a big win yesterday. I like them to do the same here. Bybee is a guy who, I mean, he can get touched up from time to time, but this Twins team, in my opinion, right now is in a little bit of a funk, and I think that Bybee can take advantage of that. Stephen Vogt has really been managing this, like I said, like a playoff series. So I would really expect to get like a good 5 innings out of Bybee. If he's pitching really well, we might see him in the 6th, but don't be surprised if he comes out of this game in the 5th if he's given up a run or two. David Festa has really impressed me. You know, he had a really bad first start against the Diamondbacks, but since then, this kid's been really good. This is just a tall task, so going against a Cleveland team who we all know, you know, extremely high contact rate, a ton of lefties who can do damage at that. So for me here, it's the Guardians of the money line at a -102. I think it's a great price, and I think they pick up a big win here. Our next one, the Atlanta Braves taking on the Colorado Rockies. Spencer Schwellenbach versus Kyle Freeland. So it's really tough to back the Braves at this point in the season. If you've been watching them, their pitching staff, especially their bullpen, is absolutely terrible. And it's really tough to get behind some of these prices. I mean, -170 for Spencer Schwellenbach is insane. But, I mean, for me, I like the Braves. I don't personally probably won't get there. I'm not going to bet this one. But I do think the Braves win this game. Oddly enough, I like the under here, which is a terrifying thought, taking it at Coors. But Kyle Freeland's one of those guys who just, for whatever reason, seems to pitch well at Coors. He's really figured it out. And this is a Braves team who we all know has been crushing the ball, so I'm sure everybody just wants to blindly take the over. And I don't know. For me, I thought this total actually would have been close, you know, like up at 11, even 11.5. And to see it down at 10, 10.5, to me, that just seems a little low, which automatically leans me to the under. So I like the under in this one. It's going to be sweaty, scary, whatever you want to call it. But I think this thing stays under. So I shouldn't give Bobby 5K. I mean, he could get 5 strikeouts. I mean, this Minnesota team, though, I mean, in terms of Ks, they're not the team we saw last year. Not even the team we saw to begin this season. Right now, they're still below league average against righties. I would wait to see what the lineup looks like, but I think 5Ks could be in play. Atlanta team total, yeah, I mean, if you want to. Like I said, Kyle Freeland is a weird guy. Most pitchers when they pitch at Coors, even if it's their home park, they tend to pitch worse. He actually has been better at Coors in terms of his career. So interesting spot here. Like I said, I like the under. If you want to try and get cute and take the Braves team total, I mean, by all means, but I wouldn't be surprised if this thing's like 4-3. Our next one, the Detroit Tigers taking on the San Francisco Giants. Kyler Montero versus Hayden Birdsong. I like Birdsong a lot, but for me, he's a guy who's still young, makes a lot of mistakes. This Tigers team, though, I mean, they're not really hitting, so it's like one of those spots where, in my opinion, the mistakes might not matter. We saw it against the Braves when he pitched against them. We've even seen it in his last couple starts. If he misses fat, you know, like misses over the middle of the plate, it's getting absolutely tagged. And he's going to do it in this game too because it's just what he's been doing. But I don't know that the Tigers have the bats to necessarily take advantage of that. So I do like the Giants on the money line here. I like the under a little more. Being in San Fran, it's a big-time pitcher's park. And I just don't like either of these offenses, truthfully. Kyler Montero has been like sneaky good for this Tigers team. Really think the under comes in here, so give me the under 8. Our next one, the Philadelphia Phillies take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Christopher Sanchez versus Merrill Kelly. I mean, I like the over. I want to see who the Phillies put out in their lineup today, make sure we're not getting like a Sunday schlub lineup. But I like the over. So Sanchez, I mean, he's been really good, don't get me wrong. But you're kind of running into a buzzsaw here with this Diamondbacks lineup who's been absolutely raking against lefties. Just a brutal spot for him. And then Merrill Kelly, he's missed a lot of time. We all know that. He only had 1 rehab start, which I was a little surprised they opted for a 1 rehab start, put him back into the bigs. He threw 64 pitches in that rehab start. And, I mean, it wasn't anything special. Swinging strike was around 8%, which is pretty low for him. So I just don't think he's there yet. Going to be a little bit rusty. Didn't have the velo all the way back up yet, and I don't expect it to be all the way up in this start. So this feels like a spot where this Phillies lineup does some damage. Like I said, give me the over 8.5 here. I think we see a lot of runs. Our next one, the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Dodgers. Bailey Falter versus Tyler Glasnow. I mean, anytime you see the Dodgers at a minus 300 on the money line, I automatically want to fade. I don't know about anybody else. But they could probably be one of those teams that has cashed the least amount of minus 300 money lines I've ever seen. For whatever reason, they do not pay out when they're at this price. Part of it's because they don't give Glasnow any run support. I don't see how they don't give him run support against Bailey Falter. But, I mean, solely from just knowing that, knowing what we know, I mean, it's going to be the Pirates for me here. I mean, you can get the Pirates plus 2.5 at a playable line. So we're going with the Pirates plus 2.5. That's an absurd price. I can get you guys the accurate price right now. Yeah, you can get the Pirates plus 2.5 at a minus 140, which is hilarious to me. So, I mean, I'll take my chances there. This is, like I said, they do not get Glasnow run support. There was a stretch in this season where I believe he went like 5 or 6 starts with like a total of 2 runs. And it's just continued for pretty much majority of the season. I do think Glasnow pitches well. I don't see how the Dodgers don't get to Falter. But, man, I'm not a big trend guy, but this is one of those ones that I can't ignore. So, Pirates plus 2.5. It's absolutely disgusting. But somehow we're getting home with that. I do like Glasnow K's a ton in this one. It was really tough to get to the 8.5 number, so I'd wait around, maybe see if we can get lucky, get a 7.5 post lineup. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he covers the 8.5 as well. Our next one, Sunday Night Baseball, the Mets taking on the Mariners. This is Luis Severino versus Luis Castillo. I mean, it's going to be the Mariners. I'm big on the Mets this season. I think they can make a little bit of noise. But this team in this series, for whatever reason, has just been absolutely shut down. And I don't see it changing. Castillo at home has just been an absolute wagon, truthfully. And just feels like a spot where he's going to once again go out and deal. You get a Mets team who's kind of in a funk. And that's kind of how they've been all season, where they get on the road and they just don't hit. So, I mean, totals at 7.5. I mean, they probably feel like this thing's going to be low scoring. I do think Severino does pitch relatively well. But in terms of giving up runs, I like him to give up a couple more than Castillo will. Wouldn't be surprised if Castillo gives us, 6 with 1 or less here. Wouldn't be surprised at all. We did run through the whole slate though, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. I do have a parlay that I'm going to give out, I believe. So it was Padres -1, and it's just to get it within this -200 leg thing for the DraftKings boost. But it's Padres -1. Orioles money line, Reds team total over 3.5. And what was the last leg? See now. Oh, and the Astros game over 9. So that boosted on DraftKings came out to plus 1,071. That's probably my 4 favorite looks from this slate. I really think that those ones come home for us. Got you. All right, so real quick to recap what we had, run through these. So we had the over in the Astros-Red Sox game. We had the Yankees team total over. Blue Jays on the money line. Dylan C's PPD. Orioles money line. Reds team total over. Guardians on the money line. The Braves Rockies under. The under in the Tigers-Giants game. The over in the Phillies-Diamondbacks game. Pirates plus 2.5, and then the Mariners on the money line. Any home run suggestions? So I try to bet home runs. I do. Once in a while, I get them right. For me here, I mean, I'm not really good. I'm good at picking the matchups, and I can tell you who's going to give them up, but I can't necessarily pick the guys who are going to do it because I'm pretty bad at that. So I think DL Hall is good for a couple. For me, that's like a Spencer Steer game, in my opinion. If I had to pick somebody, I'd go Spencer Steer. And then, like, obviously the Braves Rockies. I like the under, but let's be realistic. There's going to be at least a bomb or two in that one. Going up against Freeland, I think you got to go Austin Riley. I mean, super chalky, but come on now. My guy, NBA props in the chat saying Vladdy for a bomb off JP Sears. Yeah, I'd get behind that. He's also a Jays homer, though, so keep that in mind. Ooh, I can't. So I'll give you guys my best nerf because I know people ask for them. It's going to be kind of gross, but I do like the nerfy in the Tigers-Giants game, really just because these offenses stink. Nats versus Angels live bet. Oh, boy. I don't love live betting when I haven't really been watching the game. I did like the Nationals pregame. I mean, so now you can get their money line at a better price because it's 0-0 at this point. Love Altuve today to hit one. I mean, yeah, off of Pack. Yeah, that's another one too. I honestly totally missed that one. But yeah, going up against Paxton, I mean, I think you could like take the entire Astros, 9 for a home run and probably hit like 3 of them at least and profit. But that's a game where I like a lot of runs. I think Paxton absolutely gets shelled. Definitely a good spot to make some sort of like same game parlay or something. I mean, if there's no other questions, I mean, we'll wrap this up and let's have a great Sunday. Vladdy total base. NBA props is on Vladdy total base today at plus 105 if you guys want to ride with him. He's been pretty hot lately. Just saying. But yeah, appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm the best. Thanks. A bunch of Marlins under a hit. Okay, so if you guys don't know, when props takes Marlins under a hit, they all turn into Luis Ariz. So if whoever he's taking under a hit, just take them all for the total bases. It's guaranteed you're going to make some money. I'm just saying. But yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be doing this every Sunday. As always, you guys get all my official plays at goboys.com. See ya.